I'm Carla Reeves, and this is Differently, the Lifepreneur podcast. I'm a hyperachiever turned lifepreneur, and after a decade of coaching ambitious leaders, I'm convinced we are far closer than we realize to what we deeply desire, and it's a willingness to do differently that can change everything. This podcast is for the everyday leader ambitious for a rich, out-of-the-box life. This is your weekly nudge and reminder to take a risk to build a life that is uniquely bold, authentic, and in alignment with your deepest values. If you're like me, you've either been thinking about this next year coming, reflecting on this year, or you've already sat down and planned it all out. I'm in the middle. I've been thinking about this past year. I've been reflecting, and I've also started jotting down ideas and notes for turning the page of this year. And if you're listening at a different time of year, these ideas can be helpful anytime you want to set goals or kind of reset your goals. Planning and being intentional about how you're going to show up to your life is an investment that will pay dividends over and over and over. Setting aside time to plan will make you feel less chaotic, more in control of your life, less overwhelmed because you'll have a plan, and it will allow you to be less reactive and more proactive in your everyday life. I've never really liked New Year's resolutions. Even the word has never felt good to me. It's too permanent and fixed with little or no room for inspiration, divine direction, and organic unfoldings. My own planning process involves reflecting, really dreaming and creating and brainstorming, and then distilling things down and mapping it out with a calendar. Over the years, I have modified my rigid goal-setting process to incorporate some different approaches that have led to some very rich outcomes, both personally and professionally. And today, I want to share those with you. I invite you to try them on, see if they fit, and if they do, take them into your own planning process. So, 6 ways to plan your new year differently. The first one is lead with intentions instead of goals. Goals work for some people, and for other people, they create too much rigidity and pressure. If you've always set goals and they work for you, keep doing it. And I invite you to pause to ask yourself to make sure that your goals are actually leading you to the life you want to be living here and now. I have found intentions to be more fluid, more life-giving and expansive, while still having a solid impact on forward momentum. I've found that intentions make room for things that are bigger than I might even be able to imagine. Intentions help to guide you as a human, who you're being and how you're showing up to your life, while also guiding the actions that you're taking. Personally, I like to incorporate a blend of both. All the things I am most proud of in my life when it comes to my faith and my marriage and my family and parenting, my business, they all started with an intention. There is magic in taking time to imagine and create intentions for what you want to move forward in your life. The way that an intention can work alongside a goal is, let's say you've had a challenge of feeling like you're just running all the time and you're always in reactive mode instead of being proactive, and you want to create a shift this year around that. Your intention might be to feel more calm and peace into your life. And the goal you might have could be to incorporate a morning routine Monday through Friday. Number 2, plan with your head and your heart. We're used to living and planning from our head. I'm a hyperachiever myself, and this is something I've really had to practice, but in doing so has led me to some pretty incredible things, both personally and professionally. While the head is important, there is a wealth of information and data that can inform your planning if you're willing to take the elevator from your head to your heart and body, to feel and allow your body to inform your planning process. The more you start tuning in, the more you will discover that your body holds knowing and wisdom that isn't available in your mind. Number 3, start with being instead of doing. Instead of putting all the focus on what you want to do this next year, stop to ask yourself, who do you want to be this next year? How do you want to grow this next year? What feelings do you want to expand in your life this next year? I knew prior to this last year that I wanted to be more present in my life. I wanted to have more adventure in my life. I wanted to be more playful in my life. And those intentions and those ways of being led to a lot of really interesting and awesome things in my life that I could not have set out and planned for at the beginning of last year. These ways of being that I wanted led me to the doing. Try incorporating this into your planning process this year and see what happens. Number 4, look inside instead of outside. In other words, look in the mirror instead of the window. New Year's planning can often get us entirely focused on the outward things, more revenue, more travel, growing impact in your business, or getting physically fit, all good things. But these outer achievements build upon an inner world that sometimes is in chaos or angst, and those outer achievements do not solve the inner unrest. What if this year you built intentions that would cultivate a strong, beautiful inner landscape? And how might that impact your outer life? Number 5, seek joy or contentment over achievement. Achievements are great, but can only take us so far. I'm not suggesting that you set down your desire to achieve. It's more about blending it with something else that I have found adds fulfillment and richness and depth while still doing the work that you love. What can you do that would elevate your own joy this year right within your current circumstances? And how might elevating joy impact your achievements and goals that you're committed to this year? What I know for myself is that when I feel good on the inside, I get more done. I'm a better communicator. I'm a better mom, a better wife. I attract just the right people and resources, it seems, at the right time. Things flow with greater ease. My health and vitality is strong, and on and on. Number 6, be intentional about relationships. This isn't something we typically think of when we plan our next year, but are the most vital, important component of our lives. As I watched my parents age at the end of their life, their relationships were the most important and only thing that mattered. Why don't we make this a very important part of our annual planning process? And what would be possible if you put more intention here? A question I like to ask myself at the end of every year is, what relationships played the most important role in my life this year? Explore that a little bit. And then think about, what relationships do I want to nurture and cultivate in this new year? And I realized as I'm recording this that I actually have one more. So you're going to get a bonus. And the bonus one is, think big moves and small moves. Focus also on the small moves you're going to make this year. These are the access points in the little tiny moments of your life where you have an opportunity to respond slightly different and more aligned with who you want to be and the things you're moving towards. And over time, those are going to add up to the larger change. Examples of this might be pausing before you have that regular glass of wine at 5 o'clock so that you can really choose intentionally. Another example might be starting out your morning by reading something inspiring rather than grabbing your phone. Or maybe it's when that family member says that thing that kind of sets you off. Instead of reacting, you listen a little deeper this time and see what happens. You get the idea. Making a small change in the moments of your life over time can ripple to some really significant, important changes. Taking the time to pause, reflect, create, and plan for what's next for you in your life is a powerful practice and time well invested. This is a gift you give your future self. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Differently. I hope it stirred your thinking, and I invite you to take one inspired action from something that stood out to you. If you want to hear more conversations like this, Hit follow on your favorite podcast app. And if this episode could impact someone you know, please share it and pass it along. Remember, new episodes drop weekly. See you next week.